Hello, Fearless Gamers. Matt here for Fearless Games, and today do another episode of The Joy of Painting Minis. Last week we painted up her cape here, put some shades in there, and painted up her lance to almost completion. So we're almost done with her. Just a couple more things we need to do. We're going to need to finish up the spear, paint her gauntlets, and finish up the cape. So let's dive right in. We'll be using the paints that you see on your screen. And we're going to first by cleaning up the shadow areas that we did yesterday by going over the spots that should not be blue. So we're gonna pop this in this model. It took a little bit longer than I was expecting, but that's mainly because I am a slow painter and I do everything on camera. So that's why my episodes are a little bit longer in terms of number of episodes it does take done, but I enjoy it and I think it helps get you guys to see exactly what it is I'm doing, so there's no wait, did you do something off camera type of thing, except for what I say that I do off camera. So let us just sit. And so now, like I said, we're going over. Now I'm just taking the flat of my brush here to just catch the raised area, the raised folds of this cape. That way, that way the recesses still stay the dark color, but it doesn't. But it looks more like it's just shadowed. Not that it's supposed to be blue or stained or what have you. And the trick is to get down into those grooves without removing that shadowy color that we added. But help control it a little bit more so it's not so extreme. And one thing, actually very fun little fact about me and War Machine, I know very little about the fluff. I haven't been keeping really up to date to it, and I never, for some reason, I didn't stay on top of the fluff as much as I do with 40K. Granted, there's still a whole bunch about 40K that I'm not aware of, but I know a lot more about the 40K universe's fluff than I do War Machine. I honestly don't know what this girl's deal is. I literally just picked her up because everyone said she was really good and she would add she'd be a nice addition to my force. I have no clue what her background is, or anything about her, to be perfectly honest. I actually don't own a single War Machine rulebook. That was one of the things that got me back into it, is the fact that I can just use the cards and not have to buy 5 or 6 new books. Mainly because I actually ran out of space. I don't have space in my shelves anymore for any more books. But yeah, I have no idea who Laddermore is and what her shtick is in the whole grand scheme of things. Should probably find out at one point. But for right now, yeah, that's actually one fun little fact. Don't know anything about the fluff. Well, that's not true. I know some stuff, I know about King Lierto and the whole how Cygnar got screwed over in that sense, where their leader was it King Lierto? I don't remember if it was King Lierto or not, but got the head of Cygnar super raging drunk and had him signed where Cygnar got all of the good land, and he was left with nothing but the Northland. And since he was super drunk at the time, he just basically went, here, sign this, and he went, okay. And did it just so he could get back to drinking his booze. That's the only real fluff I know. Oh, and Asphyxius, I know a little bit about his backstory. And a little bit about Tarmarus's backstory and Diagna. But not a whole lot. Like, I know some, and I don't even know if half the fluff that I know is still relevant or not. Alrighty, so now we're going to go on and finish painting up these coils. And the way that I do these is, I'm going to do since they're not that big, I'm not going to go as crazy as I usually do in terms of the number of steps I have. Usually I believe I do a 1-to-1, then a 2-to-1, then a pure color thing. I don't know if I'll be doing that this time around. I'll have to see if I even have the room to do something like that. Because there's less room on this model than, say, the Jacks. Or even the Stormblades. The Stormblades have quite a bit of room on their thing, and Nemo. Like, Nemo has a fairly decent amount of room. We'll see what happens and how far I go in terms of creating the light effect on these things. So go here. Be down a minute. Be down in a minute! And so what I'm doing now is I'm just going over it sloppily, so the light, to kind of give the illusion that there's light shining off of these conduits, and just hitting spots. And I'm using the base as a start. I go around it and use it as a guide to where the light should go. So now, since I already have this pre-mixture and it's actually still really good, I'm going to continue using it. Just add a little bit more of the white color to it. And this is my 2-to-1 mix here. First one was a 1-to-1 mix. And this time going to be a smaller area that I coat in it. Here. Okay, and then the final highlight, which is pure white. Goes down the dead center of the coils and all that. And use a thin brush to help only catch the centers of each of the areas that this is going to be on. And now, with this bit, it is nearly done. Just a few more things that we gotta do, and then it'll be ready. So I'll be going to give this a moment to dry, and we will continue on in just a few seconds, not even. Okay, now that that has dried, we can first get my timer going. We can move on to the next spot, which is going to be fixing up her hands, and then it will be pretty much finished from there. So we're going to first do the same thing that we did before with all of the other armor. We're going to first paint it using a base blue. So I'm going to get that there. Do, do, do. Okay. Thankfully with this, there's very little that has to be painted because of just the angle and how much space there actually is. And while we wait for this to dry, well, actually, much has. So now we're going to move on, and we will apply a blue wash to what we just did. Okay, so now while we wait for the wash that we put to dry, we will finish up the highlights on the cape. And like I said, this one took a little bit less time to do, mainly because, like I said, it's a War Machine model. I don't do as crazy number of steps as I do with my 40K models. And even though I don't do as much in terms of the level of detail, I feel that they come out just as well. Can I improve? Oh, definitely. I can always improve. But am I happy with the results? Absolutely. Well, partially. I'm one of those guys that I'm never 100% satisfied with my work. But I'm happy enough where, unless I feel I could do something better, very, very rarely do I strip models. So this will be her final look for a while. And what's great about doing one version of her, it allows me to paint up her Dragoon model a little easier, because now I'll be able to just look at her for reference for how she's supposed to look when she's mounted on her horse. And looks like she got a chip on her shoulder there. I'm gonna have to fix that. Okay, now. Okay. Alrighty, and it looks like the armor has dried, and we will be wrapping up in a few simple steps. So, first going to apply the medium color, which is one part base blue, and one part highlight blue. This will help give us a nicer transition between the two colors. Okay, so then we do again the top of the hand here, and a little line going across just there, top of the hand there. We're going to do also right here to give like a look that this tip of the spear is lighting up her. It's giving a glow off of her hand. And then now, a final highlight of the hand armor with just a pure color of the blue highlight. But first, while I wait for it to dry, fix up this little nick there. And then And there we go. So like I said, not as overly complicated and as many steps as the last couple models I did, but produces a very nice looking effect here. And so, like, unfortunately, because I don't have any of my any of the materials that I normally use for basing, she won't get a base just yet, but that'll come down later. And that is all for right now. Like I said, by the time that this video comes up, I'll be either in the mists or recovering from vacation, so whether or not there'll be another episode of The Joy of Painting Mini following this one right away, I'm not 100% sure. So if that does happen to be the case, I do apologize, but when we come back, we'll have some more models to paint, and if there's anything you guys like to see, always feel free to drop a comment, and if we have the time and get the chance, we will see if we can accommodate. And always, you know, just hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did recording it and painting the model. And that's all for right now, so thank you all for watching, and until next time, fearless gamers, take care.